Hello, hello, and happy Monday. I'm Marcia.
I'm Jackie. Welcome to Goal Call Monday.
So, yes, it is December and it is time to get healthy now, not in January. Now, I always tell people if you can start a health program or just your health journey during the hardest part of the year, the holidays, that means you're going to slay it when there's nothing going on, right? Because there's no events. I mean, maybe there might be a birthday or something like that, but holidays are busy. It's like work and family and craziness and a lot of more events and Christmas
Holiday
parties,
parties. Yep.
all those holiday parties. Yes. So with that being said, we have our Plant Chics lifestyle.
Yes. And I am so excited for 12 Days of Fitness. You guys, we've been posting a lot about strength training and the importance of doing strength training, especially for women over 30, which are most of you guys, right? So our our 12 Days of Fitness, it has a lot of strength training in it, which is amazing. It's wonderful. You can do it in the gym, but guess what? You can also do these exercises at home because some of you guys don't like to go in the gym. We have all the workouts with all the weights in the gym, but also you can do them with bands, and there's so many different alternatives. But there's also stretching and cardiovascular. It's a little bit of everything, but it's literally 12 days of working out. I cannot wait. And we start next week on Monday.
We start on Monday. You guys, it'll have strength training. It has nutrition. It has two badass health coaches to push you. And we're doing a challenge with you. And remember, when you join the 12 Days of Fitness, you also have availability to all our other programs. Because a lot of people, when they did the Fit to Beast, they didn't realize that they got so many other programs included. So not only do you get 12 Days of Fitness, it's $12.95. You get everything else. Yeah, $12.95 a month. And you get everything else. You get our Plant Chics Power programs. You get, you get our LIT program, Intensity, Jackie's yoga sculpt, Perfect Pilates. We created, everything. You get a variety of yoga, strength training, a little bit of like bar / Pilates, intensity, and LIT, which is low intensity, not low intensity, but low impact. Sorry, there's still intensity.
And in addition to all those workouts, you guys, there's so much nutrition information, like videos on how to set up your kitchen for success, how to like create plant plates, and you get all these different recipe books. So not only is there all these incredible workouts, but there's also a lot of great nutrition information and recipes. You don't have to be plant-based, but you know what? Most of you guys are like plant curious or plant strong, so it's perfect for you. And you can always add or like edit some of our recipes, which we're all about food freedom, so that's perfect. And there's also information for mindset, because literally our brain is it's the hardest muscle to train. And so many of you guys said, like, you get in your own way, you hold yourself back. And our mindset workbooks and our journals, and we're creating so much more information around this. This is what you guys really need to dive into in order to really start creating that healthy lifestyle that works for you. Because like Marcia and I always say, what works for Marcia doesn't necessarily work for me, and what works for me might not work for you, and vice versa. And like those arrows can go all those different directions, right? So it's really super important that you start like learning, like asking yourself, what is holding you back? What is it in your life that's going to be the easiest to change, the easiest to implement? And then start working on those things and post in here. Let us know, like literally, what are your goals? And then share when you're achieving those goals, because that holds you accountable. Social media can be a really amazing tool for accountability.
Agreed. And that's why you guys join the Plant Chics tribe. You're curious about what the Plant Chics are. How will you be accountable, right? Like some of you guys that are on this live, you guys are showing up to hear what we have to say. Then you're like, oh, what's going on? And then you're hearing that there's another challenge coming up. Maybe you haven't joined our 12 Days of Fitness challenge yet. You need to register for that. We'll put that on the comments below. And then here's another thing. Think about the goals. We have Goal Call Monday every single Monday. It's about declaring your goals. Every week is a new opportunity to change your life. And it's small, little actionable steps that get you there. You can't do everything at once. It didn't happen for Jacque and I. As health coaches, we had to do a little bit by a little bit and a little bit. And then guess what? You're going to change and grow. Things change. What works for you today may not work for you tomorrow. So back in the day, I was doing a ton of HIIT and bodybuilding and real aggressive stuff for my body. Nowadays, I don't like to do a lot of HIIT. And I don't like to do a lot of super, super heavy strength training where it kills my back. Now I'm doing weights for strong bones. I have a different purpose. Four is for aesthetics and maybe a little bit ego, because I want to see how strong I was. Because being a personal trainer and in the bikini fitness bodybuilding thing, you know, I feel like there's an ego involved. But now this day and age, I mean, that's all put aside. And I'm like, you know what? I just want to be healthy, right? I want strong bones. I don't want spongy bones. I need more lean muscle mass if I want to burn fat. Because remember, muscle is more metabolically active than fat. We want to have good form. And this, I mean, a lot of people don't realize, I see these fitness influencers, maybe these fancy things online. They have great bodies, but they're so young. And I'm like, yeah, maybe when I was 20, I could do that. Or even 30s and even early 40s, I would say. But now that I'm at 47, I think when you go over the age of 45, there's this different shift, you know, with your body that goes on. Because I feel like my early 40s, like when I turned 40, lady, let me tell you this. When I turned 40, I was like, this is nothing. What are these 40-year-olds complaining about, right? Because I just fresh off out of 39, right? Here I'm 40, and I still had this different metabolism, a different look on exercise, all that kind of great stuff. When I hit about 45, shit hit the fan. Things changed. It's like I struggle with the middle. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm a health coach and I'm healthy. I didn't like to jump anymore. Super heavy exercise. I started getting joint pain. You guys know, I checked, it's not carpal tunnel, it's arthritis, which I don't know how to get rid of it. People are like, oh, you need to go plant-based. I am plant-based and I'm whole food plant-based. And it's not getting, yeah.
11.
Almost 12.
Oh, it was 12. Oh my gosh, time flies.
Yes, and it's not going, I mean, it hurts. I used to do regular planks. Now I have to do them on the ball of my fingers. Yeah, my fist. Again, things change. I can't do planks like this anymore because it kills my wrist to be bent back like this. I never had that issue before. And people think that I can't barely hold myself up in a plank. I can. I have to do it like this or on this way. And it will tell me, even holding the pressure of my body on the joints of it, it hurts. Never used to do that in my early 40s, not even 43, not even 44. It was around 45. I remember I lived in Austin. I was feeling arthritis stuff. I'm like, this is weird. It was in my ankles and it was in my wrist. So again, things change. Think about your body. What has changed on you? How old are you? Think about that. You know what I mean? And maybe this doesn't apply to you. Maybe you are younger, but you need to do preventative measures to protect your body. I was listening to this thing on skincare, you guys. My next second obsession besides health is skincare. I always told people if I wasn't a personal trainer, I would be, you know, some esthetician or working in the, you know, nursing like an RN. Yeah, a dermatologist's office or Botox or doing something. But long story short, I was listening about the skin, and what they were saying is every dermatologist I listened to, from big pores to like sun damage, all that, it's preventative. They're like, here's the situation. Don't wait till you have sun damage. Don't wait till this. Do preventative measures now. Sunscreen is number one. And I'm like, that is true. That applies to health. Nutrition is your sunscreen, right? It's your sunscreen of protection. So is lifting weights. And I'm not saying like bodybuilding, don't get that confused. Just strength training for health.
Like in our 12 days of fitness, that kind of strength training.
It's functional strength training to build strong bones and build lean muscle, so you're able to burn fat effectively and just be healthy going into your 40s, 50s, and 60s. Remember, over the age of 30, you start losing up to 10% of bone density, therefore muscle mass. And guess what? You're going to break a hip when you're 50 or 60 or 70 if you're not protecting your body with regular exercise. Just like you brush your teeth, you want to keep the teeth in your head. You need to do that to your bones, so you keep the bones of your body nice and strong.
Yes.
Right?
Okay. So you just said so much stuff, and I want to unpack a little bit of what you said. So at the very, very beginning, how you were saying that you guys, like, to create this healthy lifestyle, you don't have to go all in and do it all like starting right now today. Like, you can do this in like little bite-sized pieces. So here's a very good example as to how we are so different. Marcia, what's the first thing that you gave up or what's the first thing you did when you started like your health journey?
Smoking.
To get healthy.
Smoking. That was the first one before I got a clue, right? It was smoking, because you guys, I smoked for 10 years, from 18 to 28.
That's
And
just crazy.
it's disgusting.
I smoked also, you guys.
It was like another life ago. I don't
But you guys, I smoked only when I drank, and you forget that I'm an alcoholic, so I drink every freaking day. So I'm like, oh, I only smoke socially or whatever. Yeah, Jacque, liar. Mine does. Okay, go ahead. So smoking
No,
was
it's smoking. And what I did to give up smoking, which I quit like a million times, like any smoker does. I quit a million times. But what I realized, what really got me winded when I was smoking is I did like to work out. I just remember that. I remember being like 23 going to boot camp classes, but this time I was 28. Think of this, 5 years into this, and I was doing this. I got off workouts before I became a personal trainer, because I didn't become a personal trainer, I think, till I was like 29 or 30. And so basically I was doing a boot camp class and I was so winded, and I just thought, I gotta stop smoking. I'm like, and I knew it. You know, your gut instinct's telling you, Marcy, you give this up. This is not good for you. You can't even breathe. And you're like 2 little pumps into like a step aerobics, and you're dying, and everybody else is like effortlessly moving. So I thought, you know what, anytime I'm not at step aerobics, maybe realize I need to stop smoking. But when I got out of there, it was out of sight, out of mind. Just like anything, right? Out of sight, out of mind. I thought, if I can jump around out of that class and get myself winded every time I wanted a cigarette, that might get me going. So I would do jumping jacks. So every time I was craving a cigarette, I'd do a jumping jack. And I was so winded, and I was like, no, I'm not saying every time I was perfect, because I would be like, F it. I want to get a cigarette. I did, but it got to the point where it got easier and easier and easier. And that was my thing. I correlated every time I wanted a cigarette, the jump rope. But I didn't have a fake jump rope. I didn't ever had a jump rope with me. And I was doing jumping jacks, run in place, and then I get winded and be like, okay, now finally got to the point where I wasn't craving anymore. I feel like I maybe baby stepped myself out of there.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do for your habits as well. Maybe you try to quit your bad habit 100 times.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, 100%. So smoking was the very first thing that you gave up. And me, the very first thing that I gave up was I'm getting so many freaking calls. Sorry. The very first thing that I gave up was, so I was vegetarian for like starting to college all the way until I was like 30 years old. And then I was like, oh, I want to start eating meat again, because I had like the bro science. Even though I'm a dietitian by training, I'm like, I want to eat animal protein because I want to work out and blah, 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 whatever. But after, like, it was around the time that I moved here to Miami and I was getting engaged. And that's also when I stopped smoking, because my husband's like, no more smoking and no more riding motorcycles. I'm like, oh, I can't ride my motorcycle anymore. I was so bummed about that. But anyway.
Wait, what?
Yes.
I can't, I don't know if I heard this story.
Yes, girl. I used to have a motorcycle. First of all, I grew up, my father raced cars, and I had like a little mini bike from the time I could walk, literally. I've always had motorcycles. I love, love, love riding motorcycles. But my husband and the guy I dated before my husband, we would ride. He had like so many different Harleys and everything, and we would go riding all the time. This is up in Atlanta. But Charles is like, no more motorcycles. It's too dangerous, and no more smoking. I'm like, and I remember one time I went to Atlanta and I had a cigarette. I was working up there, and Charles and I were living together before we got married. And I thought I was going to die because I smoked a cigarette. I'm like, okay, I really am done with these. But literally the first thing that I did was I started eating more whole foods. I started taking away a lot of the processed refined foods and like edging meat off my plate. Fish was probably the last like animal, like meaty kind of food that I gave up. And then dairy was my very, very last thing. So I love like cream in my coffee. And Charles and I used to have like wine and cheese dinners, and I don't have any of that anymore. So like cheese and cream in my coffee was the last thing I gave up. But food wise, dairy was one of the very first things you gave up, right?
Oh, food wise, it was dairy. Yeah, because I had cystic acne. And then that's why I say I was obsessed with skincare, because of my acne. That was the second thing. And it was my dermatologist. I went to a bunch of dermatologists. It wasn't until I went to my LA dermatologist. I actually saw her on TV, flew out there. Who knew why I was like desperate because of my acne. My husband's like, let's fly out there. And we did. And she said the first thing she did, she goes, what is your diet like? And I'm like, what does that have to do with my skin? I didn't realize it had a lot to do with my skin. She's like, are you having dairy? And it was first thing. It was like dairy, and I was having a little more processed foods. I won't say much sugars because I wasn't a sugar fiend. I was more into like saturated fats. Like I love burgers and French fries with salt back then. And so I know it was all that saturated fat from McDonald's French fries and cheeseburgers that was obviously creating more acne breakout. I'm not even kidding you. Like, y'all, the habits that you and I had, I mean, we've come miles, Jacque. Think about that.
We have. No, it's beautiful. And that's what I want you guys
cleaning things up.
100%, because it's progress over perfection. But that's what I wanted you guys to hear is like, we had to start wherever was like the easiest step for us, like going to the doctor and having the doctor saying, all right, you want to get rid of your cystic acne, stop eating the dairy. That's pretty powerful. So that's actually a really, really good tool. I never had that. So, I mean, I kind of wish I did, only because dairy was so hard for me to get.
No, you don't.
No, but I want you guys to think like, what is like the low hanging fruit? You guys, I've been in sales like pretty much my entire life. And we'd always talk about like, who are the doctors that are the low hanging fruit that are already like prescribing this or doing that or whatever, like who can we easily get to adopt and switch over and blah, blah, blah. So what is one thing you're like, you know what? I really don't like cheese that much, or I don't really need to drink wine every night, or you know what? I really like working out. I don't do it very much, but maybe I can start doing 10 minutes of exercise or 20 minutes of exercise, or maybe I can do intensity every day for 3 weeks. It's only 10 minutes. Maybe I can do that. So like, what is one thing that sounds interesting to you that's not going to be like a huge sacrifice that you can either add into your lifestyle or maybe even like replace something? So what it is, type it in, let us hear. And like, what are some goals? Like maybe that can be one of your goals this week or for this whole month of December. Like, I really want to hear.
Yeah, don't go like balls to the wall in December. Like, I'm not going to work out. I'm not going to eat healthy. I'm just going to, not sleep. Like, I'm not kidding you. How many people in December is like, I don't care. I'll just wait till January. Do it now. Why wait until January? Because if you let these bad habits slide, it's much harder to get rid of it. Then you kind of started back from scratch again. I was the yo-yo dieter. I was yo-yo bad habit person. Like good habits 100%, bad habits 100, good habits 100, bad habits 100. Yes. It's all about consistency. And I think that's where a lot of us go. We think we have to be all or nothing. And really, you just have to try. You have to be consistent at just a few things and you'll get good at it. And then it becomes a habit. Remember, discipline keeps you going, not motivation, discipline.
Discipline. And it's like literally, it's the pain of regret now or later. So if you decide, okay, I'm not going to have that dessert tonight, even though I'm like craving for something sweet, I'm going to like I'm going to have that pain of regret right now, but in 20 minutes or even tomorrow, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to feel pretty effing amazing, right? Yep. So what is it? Like at some point, we are going to have to like give something up. But what are you willing to change in your life to step into that better version of you that you know exists? I'm so excited. I can't wait to hear.
Yeah, so Elizabeth said walking. She wants to add more walking and stop buying processed snacks like crackers. Yes, Elizabeth, just even the fact like you go to the grocery store to go shopping, but not buy those crackers, that's epic. Like that's a choice you make at the grocery store, because like Chef AJ says, if it's in your house, it's in your mouth. It's easier to say no at the store than the pantry. My pantry right there. If my pantry was filled with yummy little junk food, me and my husband both would be like, creeping over there to get some stuff. But since we don't like to keep a lot of junk food in our house, there's something that we can get. Here's a little fun story. So my husband, who would go out this is back in the day, he's so much better. I'm super proud of him. But we'd always, go out and back then I wanted to split something that was like bad junk food. I was like, hey, you want to split it instead of having a whole meal? He's like, get your own meal. I want my own meal. And he'll eat his full thing, like clean the plate. Not me. I would just, I'm like, I would eat what I want. Me and Jacque always share. Like, I like that. I'm with Jacque because we can pick different stuff, we can share. And then we stop when we're pleasantly full, whether it's healthy food or bad food. We do the same thing. And I was trying to train my husband to do that for so many years. It's like, wasn't, in his right on the card. He's like, no, you do your own thing. And I'm like, all right, well, just recently, this past year, he started saying, hey, do you want to split something? And I'm like, wait a minute, it's taking, I remember you guys, I've been 18 years. I'm like, wait a minute, you want to split a meal? Like, that's crazy. And we're not talking like his junk food meal, like it would be like my stuff. Last night, he's like, hey, we were both working all day yesterday. And then I was like, he goes, what's for dinner? Because I make dinner and I'm the one who makes the food. And I'm like, the store or a restaurant, because I have no food in the house. I haven't went shopping. I feel like I'm only getting little stuff these days because I've been so busy. And so I'm like, let's go to Mazzero's Mexican restaurant. And so we get there and then I get these quinoa tacos. It looks like my Mexican quinoa and it's in corn tacos. And there's 2 of them, but they're real substantial. They have some rice, some beans, and some avocado. It's actually one of the healthier things on the menu. And so it's delicious. So think of the Mexican quinoa, but just in corn tacos. It's just like that. And I'm like, wow, looks delicious, So I've had it a couple of times. Angel, my friend, introduced me to it when we went to Mazzero's. I was like, oh, this is really, really good. But you guys remember, I can't taste that well because of my COVID symptoms. So onions smell like sewer to me. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I go, can I get this without onions? And they were like, sorry, it's kind of like the things pre-made with the onions. Salsa tastes like sewer. It's kind of crazy.
Oh, that's
you guys know that a lot of you
bad.
Salsa. I know. It is crazy. It's between sewer and farts. And I'm like, oh, it's like
neither of those are good.
No, it's not. So I was craving it. And then of course I forget. But I do remember like, hey, no onions. But they're like, we have to make it. I'm like, oh, well, because it sounds so good in your head. And then when you get them and I'm like, it smells like sewer. My husband's like, this is so good. It smells delicious. But he goes, do you want to split it? And I'm like, you want to split the quinoa tacos? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, all right. So we split the quinoa tacos and we just had a little bit of like chips and salsa. He usually gets queso. He forgoed the queso and he had guacamole with us, which I was actually, and salsa, which I was surprised. So even my husband, just watching him make baby steps, I mean, that's epic for him to share a meal with me and then him to say no to queso and stick with the avocado and salsa. I was like, okay.
That is really, really big.
He's been doing that a lot lately. He's been doing that. Or if we go to a restaurant and he has a fancy meal and he gets his favorite meal, he actually cuts it in half and slides it over on the plate, eats what he wants, and then tells the waiter to take it away. I'm like, oh my God. Which I've never seen him do that. He started doing that this year. So eating literally like half of the stuff. Again, it's a win-win. It's for him. Just like you, Jennifer, going to the grocery store and saying no to those crackers. That's a win. And maybe your thing is crackers. And it's like, okay, that's my crack of choice. But
I think those are like 2 really big things. Like you want to start walking again and you want to just not get crackers. It's one thing. You don't have to stop getting everything, but just the crackers. Like do that for this week and let us know how it goes. Seriously, like this is the purpose of our goal call. And this is also
our check-in.
Yes, on your check-in. Seriously, tag us on social, post it here on the tribe, do it on Instagram, wherever you want to do it. We are here. Tag us. We want to like cheer you on. And this, you guys, this is the power of community. And we love you guys. We love the tribe. We love like all the motivation. But like the more you put into the tribe, the more you're going to get out of it. So the more you post, the more you cheer people on, the better it's going to go. Literally, my phone will not stop ringing. And I think it's a lot of spam stuff. It's driving me crazy.
Oh, we can't hear it. So
I know, because it's on quiet.
Oh, okay. I guess you seem the light is distracting you. I was like, we can't hear it.
Everything's beeping and buzzing. It comes on my laptop, on my phone, my watch.
I'm like, it is a Monday.
Information overload. ADD, tangent, what?
Yes. So just creating a small habit. It doesn't have to be huge and epic. It doesn't have to be like, I have to get my lifestyle up at Christmas time. Like people think that. Jacque and I don't give up our lifestyle at Christmas time. And we still do our lifestyle through Christmas, but we add a little bit of treats and stuff like that. So, just FYI, like for instance, my husband's birthday party, I actually ate a healthy meal, right? But then I had, 2 little pineapple martinis for his thing. But that was sugar. Think about that, sugar. I made a vegan cake out of a piece of vegan cake, but I did it within a proportionate amount. But I didn't want to like kibosh the entire meal, like feasting like crazy, like back in the day. Like I'm going to eat this ABC 1, 2, 3, smothered in that with dessert and 5 drinks.
Right.
Like that would be me, right? So it didn't happen that way. I literally had, we were at a steak restaurant, they had cauliflower steak, I had a little bit of mashed potatoes, some asparagus, some mushrooms. I felt really good about my meal. And literally, it was so big, that cauliflower steak, I could have split it with Angel. Angel got the same meal I did. We could have split that. I'm like, okay, next time I know to split this with somebody. You know what I mean? So take note and take inventory of your habits. Like how can you say if you're splitting something, you know, like when you're eating something that comes out big, maybe you can split it with somebody. That's a habit. We overeat in America anyways. We way overeat for sure. So it's all about keeping things in proportion and doing small stuff. But back in the day, I would never put that limit on myself. I would have been like, feast away, pig.
Exactly. And that's the huge progress right there. And just be mindful of your choices and celebrate your successes, because we do. Like, if you look at who you were even last year or 5 years ago, you are a completely different woman now, and it's beautiful. And think about where you want to go and how much you can change over the course of the next year, over the course of the next 5 years, because that woman that you are thinking about, that you want to become, it all starts today. And it starts with these little habits that we have, like drinking more water, getting some exercise, getting outside, getting some sunshine. It's just little tiny things. And Marcy and I say this all the time. We are basic bitches. We have to take it back to basics, and we don't have to go so crazy. Like literally just walking, drinking water, connecting, having a healthy meal. And I see you're wanting to say something about a post, so I want to hear what someone said.
Oh no, so Karen's on here, and then Karen was saying, staying on track for the holidays is always a challenge for me. You know what? I think it's a challenge for everybody, Karen. It is such a challenge, even for Jacque and I. I mean, in my mind, even though I'm a health coach and I love a healthy lifestyle, I look at stuff like, oh yeah, I could go to town on that.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really cold. Like for some reason, we're having a nice bipolar winter here in Dallas. It was 75 last night. People were eating outside, which is crazy. The weekend before that, it was like 40, you know? So it's very bipolar here in Texas at the moment because it's December. But with that being said, I think it's a challenge for everybody to be eating healthy during the holidays. There's so many fun treats and not the normal. So don't deny yourself of treats. Just don't eat as much of the treats, right?
Quantity.
Quantity. Like, I mean, I might have a cookie or I might have this, right? I made a whole entire vegan cake for my husband's thing because I wanted to partake in it. Usually when people make cakes, they're not vegan, like specialty cakes. I had a big specialty cake made. And anytime this is like my little secret here, anytime I have a birthday party for a friend, and we're talking, my friends throw huge birthday parties and they want like 3 or 4 triple decker cakes. And then I'm like, I'll take the cake, because I always go to the vegan place and I veganize it. That way I can eat the cake. I don't tell anybody it's vegan, and they eat it and they love it.
It's good.
And they're always shocked, like, you had some of the cake? And I'm like, yeah, it's vegan. Which is so funny. I went to one party and I'll never forget. Remember, I was telling you, Nellie was like, you know what they say? She came up to me. She had no idea I made the cake. I didn't make it myself, but I purchased it from a vegan bakery. But she said, you can always tell how good a party is by how good the cake is. And I was like, no pressure. And I was joking around because I thought she knew I did the cake, but she had no idea. I was like, well, no pressure. Let me know how you like that cake. And so she had the cake and she was like, damn, this cake is really delicious. And I was like, whew, I was nervous because, you know, it was a vegan carrot cake. My friend Tiffany loved vegan carrot cake. I mean, she loves carrot cake, not veganized. And I go, but they made it vegan. And she goes, wait a minute, you made the cake? And I was like, well, yeah, I ordered it from this vegan bakery. And she was like, oh, I had no idea. Number one, you brought the cake. And I said that to you. And number two, I didn't realize the cake was vegan. And I was like, yeah. So I'm always a secret person when they go, hey, does anybody want to contribute to the party? I'm like, I'll do the cake. Just let me know. And I this bakery called Reverie Bakery makes the best cakes. I literally have had about 5 or 6 really solid, amazing cakes made from there. And it's delicious. Nobody could ever tell they're vegan.
Where did you order the cake for my birthday or anniversary? The one from Michigan. That one was so good. Like that crust on that thing was ridiculous.
Oh, I have to Google it because I Googled vegan cakes and they shipped it. That was pretty good. Remember back in the day when I had your cupcakes made in Florida?
Yes.
I had Jackie's picture on it and her little bikini thing.
Mhm.
So those cakes were vegan, these cupcakes. I went to a vegan bakery there and then they screen
It was
printed
Orlando.
them on the cupcakes. My friend Heather, she reminded me when I was posting all these cakes, I had made her 40th birthday cake. She
Oh my
had came
gosh.
up here and it was Heather's little bikini picture and they put weights and all kinds of cute stuff and all, a little crown on her because she did bikini competitions, but it was vegan as well. I totally forgot all the vegan cakes I've made. And I was like, oh my gosh, I really am into the vegan cake making thing. But
Oh, and speaking of
I do it secretly so I can eat the cake. That was a long-winded story. So I do love the sweets here and there for sure, but I do want to participate. There's so many times I've been vegan and I went to a birthday party and I'm like, no, because cake is not vegan, right? And so people are like, wow, you have such discipline. But my other ulterior motive is it's not the discipline. If that cake was vegan, I would be eating it. But the cake is not vegan, so I'm not eating it. So that was my motive, was it's not vegan, so I'm not eating it. So yeah, if you are, I would say, abstaining from dairy and eggs that are in a cake, like myself, or that kind of type of stuff, then you wouldn't be eating the cake. A lot of my friends, my group here in Dallas think I have this great nutritional discipline, and it's like kind of sort of I do, but other times I don't. So, Carol, on your thing, partake in those holiday treats. Just be careful of the amount, the quantity, how often you do it, because those little things will add up.
And Karen, I also know that you love to bake. So just be mindful. And if that's like your love language and that's something that you guys really, really enjoy, I'm not just speaking with Karen, I'm talking to every one of you who really enjoy baking. Just be mindful of it, because more than likely you're going to partake. You're going to eat some of whatever you're baking. So just be mindful and see if there's something else you can make, or maybe you're going to bake everything at one time and then you're going to get rid of it all like the next day. And don't make too much extra for yourself, because like Chef AJ says, if it's in your house, it's in your mouth. So just be mindful. And again, just like Marcia said, you can have some. We're not saying you can't have any, but just be mindful. Be mindful about the quantity, the amount that you're eating, and then also move your body a little bit more. So it's awesome. Whoa.
There's another thing for alcohol. I like Sapiens, and then this is surely it's a different wine. I didn't like the white wine. It was I took a little sip through it down the toilet. This is a sparkling rosé. I love the brand Sapiens sparkling rosé. It's real rosé. They took out the alcohol. So if you are trying to beat alcohol during the holidays, this is really great for parties. And this is kind of funny. So I was posting my Sapiens post, and one of my girlfriends said, what's the point of drinking alcohol? That's like, drinking non-alcoholic alcohol. She goes,
Right.
it's like using a vibrator without the buzz, without the batteries. And I'm like, well, it kind of is. Yeah. But you got to do the work yourself. You got to pretend. No, I was kidding. But when I pour this into a wine glass, it tastes just like rosé. It just doesn't give you the buzz. It actually tastes quite delicious. And you kind of like, oh, okay. Kind of like in the holiday spirit of it, right? So with that being said, you have to find ways to make even bad habits healthier, right?
Yes.
I mean, definitely, I like a good glass of champagne or margarita or rosé for sure. I'm not saying I don't. But for me to stay in line on that stuff without going overboard, I always have choices. And if I say for this weekend we went to putt, everybody was drinking and I was not. And I said, I'll just have a Topo Chico with a lime. It kind of looks like a beer, sparkling water. Topo Chicos are good. I've had Heineken Zero, which is a beer, like a Heineken beer. They make that really good. It tastes like beer, but there's no alcohol behind it. But at least it looks like I'm partaking. It kind of tastes like a beer. Well, it is beer, but they just take out the alcohol. Just like this is a rosé and you take out the alcohol. It's just healthier habits, and I'm glad they have these options, because back in the day, I would have never picked a non-alcoholic alcohol. I would have
I wouldn't have
taken
either.
the alcohol for sure. But
100%.
now at the place, I want to feel better. I don't want to wake up tired and zapped. It really just makes me tired for 2 days. And just literally, I don't know and I don't want to eat healthy. I don't want to work out. It just compounds to other bad habits, right? Or me of not doing something and being consistent. Think of one little bad habit that you do, that it compounds and making a ripple effect of other bad habits. We all do that. And it's like recognizing, okay, I gotta clean stuff up. This is what I need to do. I always make rules of myself. I literally have a board meeting in my head about how I'm gonna live my healthy lifestyle for the day. Like, if you don't think I am, yeah, I am. I'm like, okay, this is what we're gonna do today. Like the night before, the week before, you know, like Sundays, I just look at my week ahead. Here's where I'm gonna work out. I plug it in. This is what I'm gonna be eating much healthy. I've got a holiday party. Got 2 events coming up, like one on a Friday night, one on a Saturday. You guys, it's being strategic with it. Remember, if you don't plan, if you plan to fail, you fail to plan. Or is it,
If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
you plan to fail, that kind of thing. And I still do that as a health coach, because if
That's one of the most important tools that you can do is actually planning your week out and scheduling in your workouts, scheduling in your meal prep, all that stuff. Like, put it in your calendar so you know when you're going to do these things. Make an appointment with yourself. That's like one of the oldest tricks in the trade. And I love that you just mentioned that, because it's really, really powerful. And when I was in sales, I used to do the same thing. Like on Sunday nights, I would plan my week out, like who I'm going to go see, the doctors, blah, 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 all these things. So it's really, really important to get very, very strategic with your lifestyle. Your lifestyle, y'all, you matter. You are so important. Like, literally, if you're not around and healthy doing everything, who's going to run the house? Who's going to do this, that, and the other? So you got to start taking care of yourself. And today is the day. Today.
Yep. Today's the day. And right after this call, you're starting now.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so if you're listening to this, let us know what's a small actionable item that you can do this week that's attainable. And then what is something that you need to, I would say, a small bad habit that you need to clean up. Okay. What's a small bad habit?
One of my bad habits, here's an example, and then we'll wrap up. One of my bad habits was snacking. I would snack a lot throughout the day. And then in the evening, I would kind of like mindlessly snack. So I started like having hot tea at night. That would help. I would read. My husband and I would watch TV. Like, all these things helped. But then if my husband would travel, things were different. I'll have to tell you, one of the things that's really made everything stick is that damn lumen. The lumen, because when I first got it, I was blowing all the time. And literally, if you're blowing, because I would drink coffee like throughout the day, and I put a little bit of plant creamer on there and protein powder. So that's going to affect my blow if I'm going to burn carbohydrates or fats or whatever. And I was blowing higher numbers because I was constantly eating. And you have to, like, after exercise, you need to wait for about 30 minutes. And the same thing, like before exercise, wait about 30 minutes before you blow. And then also with food, wait for like 30 to 45 minutes before or after you eat. And I'm like, well, shit, I'm blowing all the time. And I'm like, I can't keep eating. So the lumen has actually really helped me stay on track without snacking throughout the day. And that is finally starting to turn around a little bit.
No, the lumen is a really great tool. I will say that it's helped me change my dinners. You guys, I eat healthy. People like nutrition for me though, after all these years. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but it is my favorite thing to do. It's like 95% I can commit to. Just FYI, no, I was kidding. It's been a hard journey, but I still eat healthy at night. I always commit to eating healthy at night. Even if I go out to restaurants, I try to be healthy. I just really make that a point to. Well, with the lumen, even eating healthy, I was not waking up in a fat burning state mode. I was waking up blowing 4s and 5s, which is carb burning mode. They want you to wake up in fat burning mode. You can have carbs, like blow carbs during out the day, which they want you to, because they want you to utilize carbs for certain times of your day. But in the morning, you should be, from the time you have dinner till the time you wake up, by that time you wake up and blow, you should be in fat burning state. I was not blowing that the first few weeks. Literally, it took me a month. Literally a month. I'm like, what is going on?
6 weeks, I'm still not there. So I'm very close. So I'm getting better. Last week was my best week.
Jacque, you are getting better. She's like, oh my God, I blew 3. I blew 2. Like we're getting better, both of us in it.
Heather's crushing it meanwhile.
Yeah. Yeah, who was it again?
Heather.
Heather gets it. She's crushing. She's like, I'm not doing anything. I'm like, what?
We're like, what is right?
She's like in fat burning mode. Maybe it's because of her high stress, because she has so much going on, and makes her metabolism just, you never know. I mean, it could be her stress is making her. Some people lose weight during that time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Stress, they'll lose weight while others gain weight. So it kind of depends on her lifestyle and what's going on in her body.
100%.
But Jackie and I, we're like blowing 4s and 5s during stress. So it's like completely different. But we've learned through the Lumen to kind of tweak or even our own plant-based nutrition. So we applied it to our plant plates. And then we have that little diagram that we use. You guys refer back to that diagram in the plant plates guide. If you haven't seen it, go there, check it out. It says plant plates. There's videos you can watch.
It's in our Plant Chics lifestyle.
It's in our Plant Chics lifestyle, and there's 4 ebooks, and it has different recipes. We give you our main thing. We have a plant blender and a plant plate. Your plates should be it could be breakfast, lunch, or dinner. But the blender is for when you do have a smoothie, which could be a snack or a smoothie, right? For breakfast, we know a lot of people have it for breakfast, but whenever you have a smoothie. Long story short from that, we just mixed a couple different variables. Jacque and I are different. I literally had to take out my starchy carb at night, and I was blowing 3s and 2s in the morning. And one time I blew a 1. And the night that I had pizza, I blew a 4. Just, you know what I'm saying? So it didn't work for me. I was like, and it knew, it's like you could tell on me. So I was thinking, this is definitely keeping, because I blow every single morning. So it's keeping me on track. And
Totally.
so you never know, the Lumen may work for you if you really are dedicated to it, because people are like, does it work? Yes, there's science backed on this tool, but it only works if you work it. It's just like working out, just like eating healthy. It only works if you work it.
100%. And that's like a really good way to close. And that, you guys, your goals only work if you work them, if you claim them, and it all starts today. So make it happen. Write in your goals for this week. And if you want to go crazy, write down some goals for the month, because this is the very first Monday of December. So what are your goals to get through the holidays too? Write them out, claim them, post them. And then whenever you're achieving them, like shout them out to the world, and definitely tag us so we can cheer you on, because the tribe, we're going to help get you through all of this stuff. It's super exciting. All right, you guys have an amazing day.
Write your goals and tag us on social media. And anybody who like changes that, make sure you tag us. Especially I want to hear about the crackers. Did you go to the grocery store and not buy the crackers?
Yes, I want to hear it too. That's going to be perfect.
All right.
All right,
Have
guys.
a great week. We'll see you guys later.